They're gonna think I'm gone, but I'll be back. Wise.
Pack you up. Fam. Nice. God body. They gave him pieces. Never the whole page. Never enough to understand in the moment. Just fragments. A sentence here. A warning there. A lost years too early. A line that sounded like nonsense. Until life caught up and wore the exact same clothes. Sorry for your loss. Better not go back to her. You won't remember my face. I left you some cereal in the box. Some books get lived. Grace ain't forever. Patience like me. The source. The blackout. Breadcrumbs. Walls closing. This is the book of Fammo. This is the book of Fammo. Pages torn, but the truth still breathes. This is the book of Fammo. A child wrote pain before he knew what seeing mean. This is the book of Fammo. Every warning got a body, everybody got a scene. This is the book of Fammo. And nothing in this saga happened clean. God body. They never gave him the whole page. Just fragments. A sentence here. A warning there. A loss too early. A line that sounded like bullshit. Until life caught up wearing the exact same clothes. That was the method. Not enough to understand. Just enough to haunt. Sorry for your loss. Better not go back to her. You won't remember my face. Grace ain't forever. The walls start closing. Patience like me. The source. Who stayed. Before he knew what sight was, he wrote. Before he knew what theft was, he was stolen from. Before Ron called himself blessed. Before Faye carried grief in her womb. Before Rodney learned manhood from poisoned hands. Before Ruck tried to die honest. Before Rome put evil in a suit. Before Kim tried to write herself into the margins. Before Tasha smiled with venom in her teeth. Before Tony read his own death. Before Wise lost the mercy of darkness. There was a boy with a notebook. He was already living inside it. This is not the first book. This is the one that explains why the others had to be written. Open it. Book of Fammo. Book of Fammo. Turn the page. Ron still blessed. Faye still grieving. Rodney still breathing. Ruck still bleeding. Rome still scheming. Wise still seeing. Fam still reading. And this time, he understands. Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. They told the story like he showed up at the end. like he was just another name born out the wreckage. Nah, he was there in the beginning, before the bodies, before the scripts got passed around, before the bloodline learned how expensive prophecy could get. Same child, same city, same womb, different age, different awareness. This is the book of Fammo. Yeah. Young face, old eyes, rain gloss on the block. Wrote pain in the notebook while the sirens kept time on the clock. Taxi glow, cold nights, halo over corner stores. Little boy hear endings in the walls in the apartment floors. Thought he was making stories just to vent what he felt. Whole time he was sketching real grace for somebody else. Then a grown mind found the pages, copied God in a rush, turned a child's soft wonder into neighborhood hush. He was only trying to write what he felt in the air. Couldn't name it, couldn't frame it, just knew something was there. Now the city say his name like they been knew that life. Fam nice, but they don't know the price of getting right. Fam nice, they knew the name before they knew the price. Fam nice, blackout child still survive the night. Fam nice, whole city in the script, whole wound in the life. Fam nice, they handed him a curse, he turned it into life. They heard the name before they understood the boy. That's usually how it go. Legend first, wow later. Mama on her knees in the kitchen with the lights cut low. Roaches by the sugar Bible, open by the stove. Pill bottles, cold sink when the breath inside the hall. Love in the broken body, still trying not to let him fall. Brother at the window with that lost look in his stare. Landlord at the door, heat all fear, thick in the air. Then the blackout top bunk, hard floor, white flash gone. Now the pages moving through him while his memory moved on. Trying to write what he felt in the air. Couldn't name it, couldn't frame it, just knew something was there. Now the city say his name like they been knew that life. Fam nice, but they don't know the price of getting right. Fam nice, they knew the name before they knew the price. Fam nice, blackout child still survive the night. Whole city in the script, whole wound in the light. Fam nice, they handed him a curse, he turned it into life. Some books get written, some wounds get sold, some children get chosen before they 10 years old. And the strange part, he did not begin as a villain, not even as a prophet. Just a child with too much signal in his spirit and nowhere to put it but paper. By the time the city learned his name, the damage was already in circulation. Before the stolen scripts, before the distributed pages, before prophecy got turned into a weapon, there was rhyme. was Ron. Get right, Ron. Not a kingpin, not a mystic, not a man with special sight. Just a black man with hard days, a split heart, a working spirit, and enough faith to still call himself blessed. When life kept showing him the opposite, that was Ron's power. Yeah. He was the kind of man the world overlooked, the kind that died ordinary on paper, but legendary in the nervous system of everybody who really knew what he carried. A provider with holes in his hands, a father with pressure in his chest, a man trying not to become what pain kept tempting him to be. And that matters, because darkness don't always fear the strongest man. Sometimes it fear the man who still believes in goodness after life done already disrespected him. Ron had weaknesses, infidelity, confusion, the need for both peace and fire. And that human split opened the first real crack in everything. His death wasn't just a murder, it was ignition. His blood hit that pavement and grief started traveling through sons, through women, through lies, through envy, through wounds, through names that would later get told wrong on purpose. But before any of that, before the later books, before the curse spread wide, before the city got crowded with ghosts, a child wrote Ron first. Why? Because little fam didn't know blood truth yet, didn't know lineage, didn't know theft, didn't know what gift he was carrying. But somewhere in his spirit, he knew Ron meant something. Maybe because Ron was the first man in the whole saga to suffer without turning cold. Maybe because Ron represented the kind of manhood a wounded boy will pray exist. Maybe because some children write the grandfather they think they come from, before they ever learn a real father was somewhere else entirely. So fam wrote Ron like scripture, not because he knew the facts, because he knew the feeling. A man can be broke, burdened, imperfect, and still be blessed. That was the first lesson. That was the first book. That was the first move. And when Ron died, the story did not close. It crossed over into fate. Pregnant, grieving, marked. Open the next book. Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. Some children lose their mother and spend the rest of their life trying not to sound abandoned, trying not to sound angry, trying not to sound like they still waiting for advice that ain't coming. But grief don't care how old a man get. If he lost her too early, some part of him still calling home. He grew up in a house left in the cold. It was brick at night. It was minimal for dinner, Bible by the stove for life. Mama on the couch nodding painkillers, and the dog still will wake and kiss her babies, try to hide the broken parts. She wasn't single cause a man just got up and disappeared. Sometimes two people stay apart, so the kids survive the years. But a child still feel the brunt when the world fall on one back and one back start bending under sickness, stressing where the drugs at. He knew she loved him, knew it. Even through the fog and shame, even through the missiles, the silence and the strain, that's what make it cut deeper. When the one who knew your cry leave you with no real transition, just a prayer and goodbye. He still need you, still talk to you in rooms nobody else can see. Still need you, still reach for your voice when life get too heavy, and all them old wounds still open when the night come through. He ain't a child no more, but some nights he still need you. Still need you. Still need you. Still need you. And that's the part people don't talk about. You can understand your mother, forgive your mother, even outgrow parts of what hurt you, and still need your mother. And his brother took his life, grief double back with teeth. Like if mama wasn't enough, death wanted more from the street. Now the boy left standing, had to breathe for all of them. Carry mama, carry brother, carry pain that didn't end. There were nights he thought about it, not on no dramatic tip, just tired enough to wonder what it feel like not to trip. But his brother made it final, so survival turned to oath. If one son left, then one son lived and carried all they both. He knew she loved him, knew it, even through the fog and shame, even through the missiles, the silence and the strain. That's what make it cut deeper. When the one who knew your cry leave you with no real transition, just a prayer and goodbye. He still needs you, still talk to you in rooms nobody else can see. Still need you, still reach for your voice when life get too heavy, and all them old wounds still open when the night come through. He ain't a child no more, but some nights he still needs you. Still need you. She prayed, God, please cover what I couldn't get to. Feared them babies might inherit every wound she lived through. He still search her face in memory when the sky turned blue, and hate that death can take the guide you still ain't finished with. She had flaws, real flaws. Poverty in her nerves, sickness in her body, ways of coping that made the children feel forgotten, even when they weren't unloved. That's real, but so is this. Her love still fed something in him that the drugs couldn't kill, that the stress couldn't bury, and that death still couldn't take. So now when he talked to her, it ain't childish, it's survival. He still needs you, still talk to you in rooms nobody else can see. Still talk to you in rooms nobody else. Still need you, still reach for your voice when life get too heavy, and all them old wounds still open when the night come through. He ain't a child no more, but some nights he still need you. Still need you. Still need you. Still need you. Even now. Ron's blood hit the pavement, but the story did not die. It crossed into Faye, into her body, into her fear, into the child she carried, into the part of grief that don't scream first, it waits. That was Faye. Not perfect, not harmless, not foolish enough to think love alone could save her life, already leaning toward darkness. But she still reached for it. And that is why little Fam wrote her. Because some people get written, not for what they became, but for the little bit of light they kept trying to protect in places already broken. They found love where broken people go when they still want softness more than survival. That was her danger, that was her beauty. She loved Ron, and when Ron died, something in her started turning. Not all at once, not like a movie, not like a switchblade, more like warm blood, cool and slow. More like sunlight leaving a room, one wall at a time. Tony was still there, Tasha was still watching. The streets were still hungry, and grief was not finna let her stay innocent. She thought about killing Tony, and that matters, because folks love to praise a woman's heart until pain put a knife in it. Then they act confused when love come back looking militant. But some women don't go dark because evil raised them. Some go dark because what they love got murdered and nobody left them a clean place to mourn. That was Faye's cliff. And maybe that's what Fam understood before he understood anything else. That a small glimmer of light still matters, even in broken people, even in bad rooms, even in grief, even in rage. Because once that last little bit of hope go out completely, what comes after it don't always know how to come back. Had Faye lived what she was becoming, might have grown darker than even love could recognize. That is the tragedy of her book. Not just that she died, not just that she was marked, but that death arrived before she could decide whether pain would make her wiser or make her worse. So Fam wrote her carefully, like somebody trying to protect a candle in a hallway full of wind. And after Faye, the story stopped being just about loss. Now it was inheritance, pregnancy, misdirection, bloodlines told wrong on purpose, children born into names that would not tell the whole truth. Turn the page. Pack you up, bam. Not a melody. Jawn. Nobody raps about this part, the real part. Not the money, not the cars, the part that got in your clothes and your hair and your bones and never left. I remember. Let me tell you what I remember. Yeah. Pissy mattress on the floor, stains map like continents of pain. Breath visible in January inside, that cold ain't leave my veins. Roaches running relay races up the wall like they pay the rent. Duct tape holding crack, pane glass, cardboard where the window went. Trap highway, one through carpet, front door straight to the back. Railing missing rungs like a broken smile. Stairs about to crack, sheets for curtains never washed. Perpetual twilight in this place. Making thousands on that table, razor blades and Newports. God's grace, water stains like Rorschach test. Says everything about who you becoming here, nobody speaks. Counting rubber bands while the walls got holes. All this money, living in poverty. BANDO, never leave. the trap was shelter barely, but still. Nobody raps about the heavy. Youngest on the lookout, posted by the window, just a child. Fiends come and go in transactions, desperate reconcile with whatever dignity they carry walking through that door. Everybody sleeping shifts on mattresses on the floor. No privacy, everything seen, heard, known, catalog. People you would die beside, but never fully trust with God. No day, no night, just shifts, the hours blending seamless gray. The weird community of it, can't explain it any other way. Water stains like Rorschach tests. Says everything about who you becoming here. Nobody speaks. Counting rubber bands while the walls got holes. All this money, living in poverty. There no memories, never leave. There no memories in my bones. The cold got in and stayed long after I found my way home. Smell got in my clothes, my hair, still catch it in the air. Caption that the trap was shelter barely, but still. No memory. Nobody raps about the real, yeah. Nobody raps about the real, yeah. Gas leak, nobody fixed. Candles when the lights cut out. Spot on the floor that was yours, relatively speaking, no doubt. Knew you could leave, had nowhere to go, that's the real trap. So deep exhaustion. Numb to danger, can't get that back. I remember the specific cold, not outside cold, inside cold. And years later, when he started remembering what was really being done, the house was not the only thing that came back. People came back. Conversations came back. Faces came back. Sentences came back. Not because they meant anything at the time, because they didn't. That was the cruelty of it. Somebody would say a line to him that sounded like nonsense. A phrase, a warning, a strange apology, a piece of a future nobody in the room could understand yet. And then life would keep moving. Years would pass, sometimes decades. Then one day, the moment would finally arrive, and he'd feel that cold little shock in his body. I heard this before. He remembers sitting in art class, drawing, just another day. A note got handed to the teacher, it said, the towers will fall. At first it was just more weird shit. Another fragment, another breadcrumb, another line nobody knew what to do with. Then minutes later, the first tower fell. He remembers the look in the teacher's eyes, not confusion, not humor, fear. A smart man trying not to make it worse, trying not to trigger what he did not understand. He said, only one tower fell. It said towers. Like maybe the sentence could still be wrong. Like maybe the world could still stop halfway. Then the second plane hit, and he didn't even look at fam again. Just told the class is over, and walked out. That's what this was. Not just trauma in the house, not just poverty in the bones, but years of hearing life in fragments, then living long enough to watch those fragments catch up. And every time they did, he remembered the room, the face, the sentence, and felt stupid for a second. Until he remembered, he wasn't stupid. He was early. That's a different kind of haunting. Pack you up. People talk about trauma like it always arrived dramatic. Screaming, bleeding, sirens. Sometimes trauma is quieter than that. Sometimes it's one fall, one flash, one moment the lights go out. And when they come back on, everybody swear the child is fine, except the child. Top bunk, cold room, slept in the coat, it was brick. Mama in the next room, coughing, praying through her own shit. Ceiling fan, dim light, old house, breathing slow. Little boy with too much signal in him, but he ain't old. In the slip, white flash, hard floor, went still. House kept humming like nothing happened while time got killed. Folks said he good, he woke up, he talking, he straight. But some kids come back breathing and still don't fully awake. He ain't lose his legs, ain't lose his speech, ain't lose his name. Just little pieces of the wiring never turn the same. Now some days feel borrowed, some nights feel cursed, like the body took their hit, but the spirit got hit first. Blackout. Little boy hit the floor and the whole world cut out. Blackout. Came back breathing, but a piece ain't come back down. Blackout. They said he fine, they said he good, he just shook right now. Blackout. Whole time he been living like a house with one room burned out. That's the fucked up part. You could survive something and still never fully come back from it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Years passed, face changed, city got louder and meaner, but certain moments hit twice, once in his mind and in the theater. He walk into a room and feel the air get too exact, like he been there in another life and just got dragged back. Wrong questions, right feel, weird timing in his chest, looking crazy to the present, cause the past came dressed as next. Couldn't call it psychic, couldn't call it memory, just knew some shit got scrambled when his head kissed history. Ain't lose his legs, ain't lose his speech, ain't lose his name. Just little pieces of the wiring never turn the same. Now some days feel borrowed, some nights feel cursed, like the body took the hit, but the spirit got hit first. Blackout. Little boy hit the floor and the whole world cut out. Blackout. Came back breathing, but a piece ain't come back down. Blackout. They said he fine, they said he good, he just shook right now. Blackout. Whole time he been living like a house with one room burned out. What if the fall ain't in them? What if it opened the gate? What if the blank in his memory made room for someone else to shape? They call it an accident, and maybe it was. But later, too much started making sense around that blank space. Too many scripts, too much deja vu, too many moments arriving, like they had already been touched. That's when the blackout stopped feeling random and started feeling used. You. Little boy hit the floor and the whole world cut out. Came back breathing, but a piece ain't come back down. They said he fine, they said he good, he just shook right now. Whole time he been living like a house with one room burned out. Blackout, still here, not all the way back. Blackout, fam, nice. Pack you up, pack you up, pack you up, pack you up, pack you up. Fam, nice. They ain't always come with thunder, they ain't always come with visions. Sometimes the attack look regular, a smile, $10 bill. A stranger on the campus walk. A sentence said too early. A note in somebody else's hand. That's how they play with him. Breadcrumbs. He be walking cross campus, minding his business cool. Then the stranger say some wild shit like it came from a future rule. Sorry about your mama while his mama's still alive. Damn, that dog was loyal, and he ain't even had one at the time. So he laugh it off weird, look around like what the fuck. Think the city on some nut shit, think some niggas just drunk. Whole time somebody paid him just to read what was on the card. Little $5 profit worth breadcrumbs in the yard. It sound like gibberish when your life ain't caught up yet. Just static in the air, just a line you can't connect. But years later when that same scene hit him word for word, that's when every random moment came back sharp as what he heard. Breadcrumbs, they kept dropping pieces on his route. Breadcrumbs, put tomorrow in a stranger's mouth. Breadcrumbs, laughed and whole body froze later. He ain't crazy if the shit played out. Breadcrumbs, too many lines came true to doubt. Breadcrumbs, that's how they let him back around. The scary part wasn't the notes, it was remembering them right when life stepped into him. Best years felt golden, hindsight made them look cursed. College full of bad time and good nights hid the worst. One girl snapped on him crazy like he crossed some future line. He stood there lost to shit, cause to him it weren't your time. Later in a drunken stupor, older rage crossed the page, and he realized why she hated young him back at that age. That's the sickness of the setup, future words and present wounds make you look like you the villain for your mouth even choose. It sound like gibberish when your life ain't caught up yet. Just static in the air, just a line you can't connect. But years later when that same scene hit him word for word, that's when every random moment came back sharp as what he heard. Breadcrumbs, they kept dropping pieces on his route. Breadcrumbs, put tomorrow in a stranger's mouth. Breadcrumbs, laughed and whole body froze later. He ain't crazy if the shit played out. Too many lines came true to doubt. That's how they let him back around. Some trails ain't mercy, some signs ain't grace. Some people get followed till fear memorize they face. The league called it protection, wise called it correction. The streets called it weird, he called it life. Didn't know he was being walked backward through his own future, one breadcrumb at a time. Breadcrumbs, they kept dropping pieces on his route. Breadcrumbs, put tomorrow in a stranger's mouth. Breadcrumbs, laughed and whole body froze later. He ain't crazy if the shit played out. Breadcrumbs, too many lines came true to doubt. Breadcrumbs, that's how they let him back around. Breadcrumbs, all through the years. Breadcrumbs, leading him here. Fam, nice. One of the worst parts of PAS, psychic attack syndrome, was not always the note, not always the stranger, not always the sentence itself. Sometimes the damage came when his future self started bleeding backward into his younger self's life. There was a night in college, a girl from a sorority suddenly snapped on him, cursing him out, ready to slap him. And the younger fam stood there confused as shit, because to him, nothing had happened. He hadn't crossed her, hadn't insulted her, hadn't hadn't done a damn thing. That explained the level of anger coming at him. So he carried that moment like a question mark. Years later, in a drunken stupor, older fam finally understood it. At some point in her future, he had gone off on her disrespectfully, recklessly, crossed lines he shouldn't have crossed. And somehow, through the warped mechanics of psychic attack, through the folding of time, through the script and the memory and the damage, she met that future version of him before the younger version even got there. So when she snapped on him in college, she wasn't reacting to the boy in front of her. She was reacting to a man he had not yet become. That is what made PRS so dangerous. It could make you guilty early, punished early, hated early, misunderstood early. It could turn your present into a crime scene from your future. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? There is no clean coping strategy for PAS. Even if you ignore the past, the future still finds a way to remind you. Because sooner or later, you live the moment that was read to you years ago. And when that starts happening enough, you stop asking whether it's real. You start asking, how much of your life was ever truly yours? Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. There were rules, even amongst SEER'S. Rules you do not break. You do not hand a victim their own script. You do not let a civilian play with prophecy. And you never read a person's life to them while they are still inside the moment. That can crack a mind, that can make the walls start closing. Yeah, she had a folded page, smirking, thought the shit was just a play. Said some bull, gave it to her. Read this to him, he'll be okay. First line, he gon' scratch his chin and look down at his phone. He did it off reflex and felt his whole chest lose his tone. Next line, glass gon' break behind him, then he laugh and say, that's Jawn. Glass broke, he turned, said the line, and now the room felt wrong. Yeah, then she reads, red hoodie pass, left or right, don't make a scene. Young nigga crossed the doorway right on cue, that's when the air got me. Because a warning in the abstract, you can shake that, let it slide. But when the script starts catching up to life in real time, the body don't know what to do in moment, memory, fear collide. That's when the calm room turned to a trap from the inside. Walls closing. Read my life out loud, now the room too thin. Walls closing. Every second hit twice, on the way back in. Walls closing. If you say it as I'm living it, that panic start. Yeah. Walls closing. Like the future kicked the door in on the present heart. He was not scared of words. He was scared of watching words become walls. Then the page kept going past the room they stood inside. Her voice stayed in the present while his hosting slipped aside. And through her eyes he caught a flash. Wet road, headlights, twisted rail. A screen cut short, a casket filled. Cold flowers in the pale detail. Yeah. She kept reading clueless, thinking this was just some weird ass fun. He grabbed the paper, breath gone bad, like 10 lives hit him at once. Not just feel what she knew, it was how the moment been. Like his life was being narrated while he was still paying rent. Because a warning in the abstract, you can shake that, let it slide. But when the script starts catching up to life in real time, body don't know what to do in moment, memory fear collide. That's when the calm room turned to a trap from the inside. Walls closing, read my life out loud, not a room too thin. Walls closing, every second hit twice on the way back in. Yeah. Walls closing, if you say it as I'm living it, that panic start. Yeah. Walls closing, like the future kicked the door in on a present heart. Some games ain't games, some pages cut deep, some minds get split when the now and the not yet meet. This is what he later understood. The attack was not always in the know. Sometimes the attack was in the timing and forcing the present to collide with a future already read somewhere else. That is what made it dangerous. That is what made it cruel. That is what made him start fearing even his best years. Walls closing, read my life out loud, now the room too thin. Walls closing, every second hit twice on the way back in. Walls closing, if you say it as I'm living it, that panic start. Walls closing, like the future kicked the door in on a present heart. Walls closing, don't read it live. Walls closing, some minds don't survive. Fam. Nice. There is no clean coping strategy for pause. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. You hear a line too early, you brush it off. Years pass, then life walks into the sentence exactly how it was read. Now the mind split. Because was it memory? Was it prophecy? Was it trauma? Or was it all three? Stacked on top of each other until the walls start colliding. That's what they never told him. The danger was not just the script, the danger was timing. A future spoken too close to the present can make the body revolt. Panic, derealization, confusion, somatic terror. A room that was safe 1 second ago suddenly feel like it got no exits. The league called it management, wise called it insight. But for the victim, it felt like madness with receipts. And once you lived enough moments that were read to you years before, you stopped asking whether it's real. You start asking how much of your life was ever allowed to arise naturally. That is. And once the walls start colliding, peace don't come easy. Turn the page. There is no clean coping strategy for past. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. There is no clean coping strategy for past. There is no clean coping strategy for past. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. There is no clean coping strategy for past. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. There is no clean coping strategy for past. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. There is no clean coping strategy for past. How can you forget the past if it contains memories of your future? That is the trap. You hear a line too early, you brush it off. Years pass, then life walks into the sentence exactly how it was read. Now the mind split, because was it memory, was it prophecy, was it trauma, or was it all three? Stacked on top of each other until the walls start colliding. That's what they never told him. The danger was not just the script, the danger was timing. A future spoken too close to the present can make the body revolt. Panic, derealization, confusion, somatic terror. A room that was safe 1 second ago suddenly feel like it got no exits. The league called it management, wise called it insight, but for the victim, it felt like madness with receipts. And once you've lived enough moments that were read to you years before, you stop asking whether it's real. You start asking how much of your life was ever allowed to arrive naturally. That is past. And once the walls start colliding, peace don't come easy. Turn the page. Pack you up. Wise went blind in spirit. That was his punishment. But fam's curse moved the other way. The more damage done to him, the more the signals started coming back. Not softly, not safely, violently, like static clearing all at once. Yeah. She reeled the page too close, voice lined up with his breath. Word for word with the room, damn near second for second. Said he gon' reach for the cup, then pause and stare at the wall. He did it while she said it. Felt the air in the crib get small. Then she read, now his chest gon' tighten, left hand by his side. That happened while it happened, that's when panic multiplied. Cause it ain't just future talk, when the nouns start matching script, that's when the brain start folding and the body start losing grip. And right there in her pupil, something open past the room. Wet robe, guardrail, flowers, black dress in the June. Night is deaf, hers, flash sharp, then gone. And for the first time in his life, the static wasn't wrong, static clears. Now the blur got edges, now the dark got ears. What was blocked came back and hit him in the ribs. He ain't asked for sight, but the sight got near. Static. And once it opened up, he could never go back to not being scared. He thought the worst part was hearing the script. It wasn't. The worst part was seeing past it. Wise use sight like a weapon, leave use notes like bait. Both left fingerprints on the timing of this fate. But this was different, this was deeper than being played. This was the first real crack where the lost get free and gay. Not some theory, not some hunch, not some weird ass college star. He saw beyond the reader, past the body, past the car. Saw death like a stain in the frame, then the frame cut black. And when the room came back around, this old life didn't come back. And right there in her pupils, something opened past the room. Wet road, guardrail, flag was black, yes, in the June. Not his death, hers, flash, sharp thing gone. And for the first time in his life, the static wasn't wrong. Static clears. Now the blur got edges, now the dark got years. What was blocked came back and hit him in the ribs. It opened up, he could never go back to not being scared. Some gifts return, like mercy don't. Some doors swing wide and never close. This was not enlightenment, not peace, not some beautiful spiritual awakening. This was a man realizing that what damaged him also lived in him. And from that moment on, every script, every breadcrumb, every old encounter, every strange look, every broken memory started pointing to one truth. He was never just a victim. He was also the source. Static. Now the blur got edges, now the dark got tears. What was blocked came back and hit him in the ribs. He ain't asked for sight, but the sight got near. Static. And once it opened up, he could never go back to not being scared. Sight came back wrong. Static clears. Now he sees too much. Pack you up. He wanted what everybody want. Peace. Somebody real. Place to put his softness without getting punished for it. But love gets strange when your spirit keep hearing the ending before your heart finish enjoying the beginning. He could be laid up laughing, whole room feeling right, and a weird little echo hit his chest in the night. Not a thought he could place, more pressure in his skin, like his body knew to break up before his mind caught up to it. So he'd ask the wrong question at the wrong damn time, jump ahead 3 chapters looking paranoid, out of line. She'd be looking at him crazy like, where the hell that come from? And he couldn't even tell a girl, I think tomorrow already done. He ain't mean to act distant, he was trying to stay safe. When you done felt the end early, it get hard to trust grace. Every good thing got a shadow when your nerves been through enough. So he start protecting himself right when it started feeling like love. How he supposed to love you normal when his mind keep racing to the worst? How he supposed that's the ugly part. Sometimes a man don't ruin love because he never cared. Sometimes he ruin it because peace start feeling suspicious. Yeah, one woman knew too much, read his light back in his face. So now every serious bond got a little fear in the taste. He watch it, text it too long, stomach start doing flips. Not because she did shit wrong, because his body felt a script. Then the memory would hit him when the moment came to pass, and he looked stupid in the present for reacting from the past. Tried to stay ahead of fame, but that made him move too soon. Now he's arguing with weather while she's still enjoying June. He ain't mean to act distant, he was trying to stay safe. When you done felt the end early, it get hard to trust gray. Every good thing got a shadow when your nerves been through enough. So he start protecting himself right when it started feeling like love. How he supposed to love you normal when his mind keep racing to the worst? How he supposed to hold you gentle when his body still remember hurt? Sometimes he be leaving early before the reason even show up in the room. Trying to lose you, baby. He just don't know how to love you normal. Maybe it ain't you. Maybe it's the ghost. Maybe he keep bracing where he need to stay close. Maybe grace gets shorter when your soul been through too much. And maybe broken timing make a good man hard to touch. He believed in forgiveness and family and working through shit. That's why he wrote Rome and Kim the way he did. Grace, mercy, stay, try again. But real life made him learn something colder. Grace ain't forever when fear keep eating the middle out of love. How he supposed to love you normal when his mind keep racing to the word? How he supposed to hold you gentle when his body still remember hurt? Sometimes he be leaving early before the reason even show up in the room. He ain't trying to lose you, baby. He just don't know how to love you normal. Love you normal. That's all he wanted. Love you normal. Before the fear got to it. His book was different because when Fam wrote Rome and Kim, he wasn't just writing two people. He was writing a problem, a war in plain clothes, a cold war in kitchens, a gender war in bedrooms, men keeping score, women bleeding in silence. Both sides tired, both sides proud, both sides wounded enough to call self-protection wisdom. That was the book. And at the time, Fam wrote it like a plea. Not because love was easy, because family mattered. He believed some things should be worked through, some things should be talked through. Some things deserve grace before they deserve goodbye. That's why Rome got to speak, that's why Kim got to answer. One song holding a man's grievance, the next one holding a woman's truth. Not to pick a side, but to make both sides hear what pain sound like in the other mouth that mattered. Because too many people know how to leave, and not enough know how to stay clean while hurting. So Fam wrote Rome and Kim to slow the breakup down, to challenge ego, to defend forgiveness, to remind people that children don't just need love, they need family that don't fold too easy. That was the hope, but hope ain't always history. Later, the real book opened wider, and what looked like a hard marriage turned out to be a warning. Rome was darker than he first appeared. Kim was wiser than she first sounded. She tried to save him, tried to stop him from reading his own script, tried to protect him from himself. But a man can't be saved if his ego like poison, if his greed like gospel, if his mother's voice in his head sound holier than his wife's mercy. That was wrong. And later, grace hit its limit, because grace can hold a lot. Misunderstanding, pride, distance, infidelity, fear. But grace ain't forever when somebody keep choosing darkness on purpose. So the same book that once argued for staying together had to later confess something colder. Not every family stays saved just because somebody in it still believes. That is why Rome and Kim matters. It began as a defense of forgiveness. It ended as evidence that mercy without change becomes self-betrayal. And once Rome crossed that line, the marriage was no longer just broken, it was doomed. Turn the page. This book was different. Pack you up. Progress note. Adult male. High functioning. Employed. Insight intact. No active psychosis. No substance use reported, but recurrent episodes of deja vu, somatic panic, and an impossible level of familiarity with other people's trauma narratives. And that's where this shit get weird. Yeah. Every week another soul sit down and start unraveling. Talking about a script, a voice, a room of future traveling. Yeah, say somebody read their life to them years before it came, and when the moments start occurring, they can't function the same. I'm supposed to say trauma response, keep the language all neat, ground the body, check the breathing, keep both feet in the seat. But some of that shit too exact, too sharp, too on the nose. Like I know the next damn line before it leave they throat. I write anxiety, dissociation, panic, under stress. Whole time I'm hearing something deeper in the fucking mess. Cause when they talk it don't feel foreign, it feel close to skin. Like whatever's eating them alive done brush my life too kin. But the lights stay low and the truth don't fit the chart. Welcome to the doctor's office. Well, calm ass face still had a shook up heart. They come in talking crazy, I can't even front. Some of what they say be sounding like my own blunt wounds. Welcome to the doctor's office. I help them hold their mind together while mine keep cracking too. Traditional psychology don't got a box for this. And if it do, that box too fucking small. One lady said a man told her how her brother gon' die. Say years later, same month, same steps, same weather, same sky. Young bull in his waist, always on pain in the page. Read it at 16, now he living every line with rage. I'm sitting there professional, pen still, face all trained. But my chest start getting tight cause that shit sound too damn sane. Like top bunk right, flash blank years, weird coded fear. Like somebody been throwing breadcrumbs at my life for years. I write anxiety, dissociation, panic, under stress. Whole time I'm hearing something deeper in the fucking mess. Cause when they talk it don't feel foreign, it feel close to skin. Like whatever's eating them alive done brush my life too. Where the lights stay low and the truth don't fit the chart. Welcome to the doctor's office. Where calm ass face still had a shook up heart. They come in talking crazy, I can't even front. Some of what they say be sounding like my own blunt wound. Welcome to the doctor's office. I help them hold their mind together while mine keep cracking too. If I know the lines before they say them, why that feel like memory, not a guess. If I keep on helping people name it, who the hell gon' help me with the rest? See, the fucked up part is I'm good at this. Too good. Because when somebody come in this room talking about a future they heard too early, a page they can't unread, a moment that hit twice, first in their mind, then in their body, I don't just believe them. I know exactly what the fuck they mean. Welcome to the doctor's office, where the lights stay low and the truth don't fit the charge. Welcome to the doctor's office, where calm ass face still had a shook up heart. They come in talking crazy, I can't even front. Some of what they say be sounding like my own blood wounds. Welcome to the doctor's office. I help them hold their mind together while mine keep cracking too. Doctor's office. Keep it together. Don't let it show. Some files don't close. Fam. Nice. Two sons, same poison in the house, different ending. Rodney was the one they called can't get right. Not because he lacked intelligence, not because he lacked heart, because pain got to him early and raised him crooked before wisdom ever had a chance. He was lied to, used, turned into a weapon, taught to survive before he was ever taught to heal. Tony raised him, Tasha poisoned him, and when Rodney found out that Tony helped murder the mother and father he thought he barely knew, something in him snapped where it had already been cracked. So Rodney killed Tony. That matters. Not because vengeance saved him, it didn't, but because that was the moment the false father fell and the real wound opened all the way. Then came prison, power, more corruption, more shaping, more manipulation from Rome and Tasha, who needed Rodney alive but never truly free. And still, somewhere under all that beast work, Rodney kept a soul, that is what made him different. Now RUCK was the other side of the same curse. The beast with a heart, the one who moved foul, lived wild, carried rage, but still had enough conscience left in him to know when shit had gone too far. That's rare, because some men die monsters without ever once questioning the blood on their hands. RUCK questioned it. And when he found out that Rodney was taking the fall for a murder Rodney didn't commit, RUCK tried to make it right, tried to turn himself in, tried to give truth one last shot before the family machine buried it for good. That's what got him killed. Rome could not afford honesty, Tasha could not afford weakness, so Rome murdered his own brother to protect the lie. That is the book of RUCK. Not just street rise, not just beast energy. A man trying to crawl back towards truth, too late for mercy to save him. So Rodney lived, RUCK died, and fam learned something ugly and useful at the same time. Bloodline ain't the same as fatherhood, and being born into wolves don't mean you gotta die one. Turn the page. Turn the page. Pack you up, fam. Nice. God body. Blood make children. That part easy. Manhood, they usually get handed down rough. Sometimes by a father, sometimes by a stepfather, sometimes by an uncle, sometimes by a man so flawed you don't understand what he gave you until years later. The question ain't always who made you. Sometimes the real question is, who stayed? Rodney learned manhood from a man with dirty hands. Tony taught him how to stand, how to fight, how not to bend. Too hard, too cold, too street, too much, don't show pain. But when the boy ain't got a father, even rough love leave a stain. He hated how he pressed him, loved him for the shit he built. Learned discipline through pressure, learned survival through the guilt. That was the only man he knew that ever made him feel prepared. So even when the love was crooked, Rodney knew that Tony cared. That's the hard truth grown men rarely say out loud. Sometimes the one who raised you up also taught you wrong somehow. But that don't erase the nights he stood there, made sure you ate. Life get complicated when you measure love by who stayed. Who stayed when the world got cold and the house got strained? Who stayed? Taught a boy how to carry a man's last name. Even flawed, even hard, even half insane. Sometimes love ain't clean, but it still got weight. Sometimes blood don't raise you, the one who stayed. And that's what people miss. A man can be wrong in how he moves and still be the only reason a boy learns how to move at all. That's why Rodney cried when he had to take Tony out. Not cause Tony was innocent, cause love and grief can blur shit out. Tony killed his mother Faye when Rod was just a baby child. Still rap more on the man who raised him, that's how deep this shit get wild. A father figure ain't a halo. Sometimes it's boost and scarred advice, sometimes it's don't get caught before it's ever lived right. But boys become men around men, that's the part the world erased. And a lot of these broken niggas only needed one man to stay. That's the hard truth grown men rarely say out loud. Sometimes the one who raised you up also taught you wrong somehow. But that don't erase the nights he stood there, made sure you ate. Life get complicated when you measure love by who stayed. When the world got cold and the house got strained. Taught a boy how to carry a man's last name. Even flawed, even hard, even half insane. Sometimes love ain't clean, but it still got weight. Sometimes blood don't raise you, the one who stayed. Some men plant seed, some men plant spine, some men leave ghosts, some men leave grind. In this era, stepfathers get joked on. Men who step up get treated like suckers. Like raising what ain't yours is weakness. That's bullshit. Because a real man knows, if a child under your roof, under your watch, under your influence, looks to you for shape, then shape him, feed him, correct him, protect him. Try not to poison what you're building. And if you fail, that failure still don't erase the fact that you stayed. Who stayed? When the world got cold and the house got strange. Who stayed? Taught a boy how to carry a man's last name. Even flawed, even hard, even half insane. Sometimes love ain't clean, but it still got weight. Sometimes blood don't raise you, the one who stayed. Who stayed? That's who raised him. Who stayed? That's who shaped him. Fam, nice. Before Rodney, before RUCK, before Rome put on a suit and called corruption leadership. There was Tony and Tasha. That was the real engine. Not love, control. Tony was structure, Tasha was venom. He built the machine, she taught it how to smile. Together, they turned pain into strategy, jealousy into action, sex into leverage, the streets into a kingdom, funded by fear, fed by pride, and protected by lies. That's what made them dangerous. Not because they were the worst people ever born, because they were effective. Tony knew how to raise soldiers, how to break boys into usefulness, how to make hardness look like manhood, how to call discipline love while quietly training trauma to obey. Tasha was darker, not louder, not crazier, darker. Because some people don't just survive pain, they start worshiping control. So they never gotta feel small again. That was Tasha. She wanted power more than peace, possession more than intimacy, winning more than healing. And when Ron stood in the way, they killed him. When Faye became dangerous, they killed her too. That matters, because everything after them, Rodney's fracture, RUCK's rage, Rome's rock, Kim's death, Fam's confusion, all that shit grew in soil, they helped poison. Tony got red, Tasha got driven. Both of them moved like they still had choices, while prophecy and ego kept narrowing the hallway. Tony knew death was coming, still leaned into it. That's the cold part. And Tasha kept choosing herself, even when self had already curdled into destruction. That's why these books matter. Not because they tell the story of two villains, because they show what happens when broken adults stop trying to heal and start trying to rule. That poison don't stay with them. It get inherited by sons, by lovers, by cities, by anybody close enough to mistake fear for leadership. And fam, whether he knew it then or not, was always writing around the blast radius. Turn the page. Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. They called it survival. They called it game. They called it being built for the streets. But poison don't build kings. It built men who mistake fear for respect, trauma for discipline, and control for love. That's how whole bloodlines rock, while still looking powerful. Tony taught a boy to stand with his chin up and his heart low. How to read a room for danger, how to move and never talk slow. How to take correction harsh, how to wear pain like a coat. How to swallow tears with dinner, how to let no weakness flow. Tasha taught him power sweeter when it comes with somebody's fear. How to make a smile feel safe while the knife already near. How to win the room with poison, how to turn love to control. That's how whole damn families you are starving in the soul. And the streets call that strength, but that shit be counterfeit. A lot of real men, religious boys with better posture in the pit. Raised to survive, yeah, but survival ain't the same as being whole. If the lesson kill your softness, then the lesson took the soul. Poison don't raise kings, it raised hardback boys with a war in their chest. Poison don't raise kings, it raised men who can lead and still can't love correct. Poison don't raise kings, if the crown came bloody, then the blood still sing. You can build an empire out of fear and lies, but poison don't raise kings. Some fathers teach boys how to live, some teach them how not to die. those are not always the same lesson. That's why Rodney cried when he put that iron to Tony's frame. Cause even wrong men leave a mark when they the ones that game you. That's why Ron could wear a suit and still be rotten in the core. Cause polish on the poison lesson only make the lie look short. That's why Ruck can move like beast and still got truth inside his ribs. Cause even in the curse house, some hearts still question how they live. And that's why fam kept writing circles round these niggas rise and fall. He wasn't just writing monsters, he was tracing what built them all. In the streets call it strength, but that shit be counterfeit. A lot of real men, religious boys with better posture in the big race to survive, yeah. But survival ain't the same as being whole. If the lesson kill your softness, then the lesson took your soul. It raised hardback boys with a war in their chest. Poison don't raise kings. It raised men who could lead and still can't love correct. Poison don't raise kings. If the crown came bloody, then the blood still sings. You can build an empire out of fear and lies, but poison don't raise kings. Some homes raise wolves, some homes raise scars, some homes raise legends who don't know who they are. That's the scam. A lot of men were never taught peace, only posture. Never taught tenderness, only tolerance for pain. Never taught truth, only codes. So they grow up thinking being feared is the same as being solid, thinking being hard is the same as being right, thinking a crown means something when the whole throne smell like old blood. Poison don't raise kings. It raised hardback boys with a war in their chest. Poison don't raise kings. It raised men who can lead and still can't love correct. Poison don't raise kings. If the crown came bloody, then the blood still sings. You can build an empire out of fear and lies, but poison don't raise kings. Poison, poison, poison don't raise kings. It just teach boys to bleed clean. Poison don't raise kings. Fam, nice. Pack you up, pack you up. By now, the listener should understand this. Wise was real. The league was real. And fam was never crazy. Here's what happened. Little fam wrote first, not on purpose, not with full awareness, not as a master plan. He was a gifted child, putting strange visions, future fragments, past pain, and emotional truth into books he thought were fiction. That came first. Wise recognized what those books really were. He did not create the source, he found it, copied it, interpreted it, distributed it, and in some cases, used his own sheer ability to add to the damage. That is what made Wise dangerous. Not just that he could see, that he took what a child wrote in innocence and turned it into psychic contraband. Now the League of Seers existed to keep this kind of power hidden, managed, and contained. At least that's what they told themselves. They knew about Wise, they knew about fam. They knew a child that powerful could become catastrophic if left untouched. So they interfered too. Not always violently, not always openly. Sometimes through surveillance, sometimes through planted phrases, sometimes through strangers with index cards, sometimes through timing, sometimes through making sure fam stay confused until the right moment, or the wrong one. That is the part that matters. Wise and the League were not the same. but both of them touched his life before he understood what was happening. Wise used interference like obsession. The league used interference like management. For the victim, that difference didn't always matter, because whether it came from chaos or control, the result was the same. A life that could not fully arrive naturally. Breadcrumbs, scripts, panic, deja vu, walls colliding, memory gaps, moments that felt narrated from somewhere else. That was the damage. Wise believed he was correcting something. The lead believed they were preventing something. Both of them in their own way helped fracture the same boy. And the cruelest part, they all knew his sight would return. That is why the script stayed away from his hands. That is why the trail was left behind. That is why his life kept feeling watched, nudged, and half-written. They were not just shaping the victim, they were managing a future seer who did not know he was one yet. That is the Book of Wise. That is the league. That is the machinery behind the womb. And now, fam sees it too. Turn the page. Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. For years, he thought he was the victim, and he was. For years, he thought Wise was the author, and he wasn't. For years, he thought the pages were hauntings that found him from the outside, until the worst truth arrived. The wound did not only circle him, it started with him. Little hands, wide eyes, notebook on his lap. Thought he was making stories just to keep from falling back. Rain on the window, Bible glow. Winter in the crib, whole time he was writing lies for grown-ass people he ain't no live. Men that would die later, women who would carry pain, sons who would lose fathers, mothers who would go insane. Thought it was imagination therapy, a child's release. Whole time that little pen was documenting futures in the streets. Then Wise found the pages, saw the signal in the ink. Didn't birth the source, he just stole it from the brink. Copied one to passed it round, turned innocence to force. And the one they called attack was always really the source. The source. Not the thief, not the script, not the man who passed it out. The source. Little child with the sight they tried to scramble into doubt. The source. All this pain had an origin, but it wasn't what they thought. Why spread the fire, but the spark was in the boy they couldn't stop. The source. That's what scared them from the jump. The source. The source. That's why they never let him touch too much. He was not just haunted by the books, he was the first one to hear them breathing. Alliance moved quiet, telling theyselves it was balanced. Watching him from corners, passing notes through proxy hands and malice. Wise moved reckless, ego drunk, obsessed with what he found. Both sides touched the same boy life and called the damage something sound. That's why every breadcrumb hit like part memory, part theft, part somebody know me, part why the fuck I got no rest. That's why when the sight came back, it ain't feel holy or clean. It felt like opening the walls and seeing how long you've been seen. And Wise found the pages, saw the signal in the ink. Didn't birth the source, he just stole it from the brink. Copied one to passed it round, turned innocence to force. And the one they called attack was always really the source. The source. Not the thief, not the script, not the man who passed it out. The source. Little child with the sight they tried to scramble into doubt. The source. All this origin, but it wasn't what they thought. Why spread the fire, but the spark was in the boy they couldn't stop. The source, that's what scared them from the jump. The source, that's why they never let them touch too much. Some gifts get buried, some gifts get sold, some gifts come back mean when they've been touched too cold. And this is where the whole saga changes, because once he knows, he wrote them first. The book stopped feeling random. Ron, Faye, Rodney, Ruck, Tony, Tasha, Rome, Kim, Wise. None of them were just stories. They were pages he touched before he knew what sight was. Lives he felt before he knew what memory was. Truth he wrote before he knew what truth could cost. That is why the theft hurt deeper. Wise did not just terrorize him, he stole his earliest witness. Not the thief, not the script, not the man who passed it out. Little child with the sight they tried to scramble into doubt. All this pain had an origin, but it wasn't what they thought. Why spread the fire, but the spark was in the boy they couldn't stop. The source, that's what scared him from the jump. The source, the source, that's why they never let him touch too much. The source, before the death, before the fear, he was already here. Fam, nice. Pack you up. Fam, nice. Guard body. He was 17, coming from practice. Sweat cooling off. Regular day, regular air. Then an old man stepped in his path and started talking like time was already broken. Fresh off the court, ball bag, laces half loose. Young bull breathing normal, thinking nothing but the usual route. Old head on the corner looked at him like he knew the frame. Said, do you recognize me? Young fam said, nah. Kept his pace. Then the old man smiled strange, stepped closer, cut the lane. Said, you won't remember my face, but you gon' remember what I say. Then he started talking fractured like a sentence with no floor. Broken lines, long gaps, shit that ain't belong together at all. Sorry for your loss. Young fam frowned like loss of what? Ain't nobody dead, ain't nothing wrong. Old head just sounding nuts. But when I see us split the timeline, gibberish can still be exact. It just take 20 years for the mind to circle back. When I met Wise, he ain't speaking moments, he spoke in years. When I met Wise, half the shit was broken, half of it got clear. When I met Wise, sorry for your loss kept falling out his mouth. When I met Wise, I ain't know them words was waiting on me down the road. That's what made him dangerous, not just what he saw, how patient he was with it. He said, better not go back to her, better not go back to her. Twice like the one that had teeth, but the reason lived much further. Young fam took it like old man nonsense. Weird street prophet rambling. Still had to live the in-between. Every heartbreak, every gambling. Then another broken sentence, I left you some cereal in the box. Sounded dumb as shit right then, like the old man's mind was lost. Whole time that was mercy coded, saying I ain't tell you all. He saw enough to shake the ground, spared the end and left the fall. Sorry for your loss again, but no one had gone. That's how prophecies sound crazy when your life ain't caught the song. Then the years start filling in between each little splintered phrase. And the nonsense from that corner turned to landmarks in your days. When I'm at wide, he ain't speaking moments, he spoke in years. When I'm at wide, half the shit was broken, half of it got clear. When I'm at wide, sorry for your loss kept falling out his mouth. When I'm at wide, I ain't know them words was waiting on me down the road. Some men leave names, some men leave smoke, some men leave whole lifetimes inside a couple broken quotes. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew the boy would forget the face. He knew the words would sleep until life walked into them. That is what made the meeting strategic. Not memory, timing. And when the losses finally came, them old lines hit like bricks. Mama gone, dog gone, oh grief opening those scripts. Women he should've left alone came back sharp in memory too. Every don't go back turned out a wound the young boy had to move through. By his 30s, that whole corner scene rose up from under dust. Not the face, just every phrase, every fracture, every cut. That's when he knew the old man wasn't crazy, wasn't random, wasn't bored. That was wise, planting future grief in pieces he could not afford. When I'm at wise, he ain't speaking moments, he spoke in years. When I'm at wise, half the ship was broken, half of it got clear. When I'm at wise, sorry for your loss kept falling out his mouth. When I'm at wise, was waiting on me down the road. When I'm at wise, forgot the face, kept every word, and lived the space. Fam, nice. Wise could have said more. That is what made the meeting cruel and strange and unforgettable. Because he did not empty the whole clip. He broke the future into fragments, losses, warnings, women, grief. Lines that would take decades to make sense. But when it came to the final thing, the last thing, the part no one should know too early, he stopped. I left you some cereal in the box. That was not nonsense.
That was mercy, twisted mercy, strategic mercy, maybe ego too.
Because even Wise understood, a man should not have to walk around already knowing how he dies. So he spared the ending.
Not to save fam, not to cleanse himself, but because even a seer who had gone too far
still knew that some darkness should arrive on its own. Turn the page. Pack you up. Fam, nice. God body. Grace is holy. Grace is necessary. Grace keeps families together. Grace keeps love from folding too early. But grace without change, that ain't grace. That's permission. And at some point, every soul got to decide where mercy ends and self-betrayal begins. He gave grace to the women, to the pain, to the breaks, to the men raised wrong, to the wolves wearing saints, to the mothers with poison, to the fathers too hard, to the lovers that meant well but still left them scarred. He gave grace to the lies if the truth looked afraid, to the boys acting tough cause that's how they got shaped, to the streets, to the scripts, to the fear in the blood. But some shit keep repeating till your mercy flood. And that's the part grown souls don't say enough. You can understand the wound and still call the bluff. You can pray for somebody and still close the gate. You can know why they hurt you and say grace ain't forever. Wait, grace ain't forever. Not when the same knife keep calling it self-love. Grace ain't forever. Not when the same hands keep dressing armor. Grace ain't forever. Mercy got a limit when the soul can't breathe. You can love them, forgive them, pray for them, cool. But grace ain't forever when it keep costing you. Compassion is not the same thing as staying where your spirit gets cut. Yeah. Kim gave grace to Rome, thought she could turn his tide. Thought if she loved him clear enough, some darkness might step aside. Rodney gave grace to Tony, still cried when that man fell. That's how deep flawed fathers live in the bones they fail. Fam gave grace to memory, the pain that had no name, to the alliance, the wise, the how his life got framed. But wisdom ain't just softness, sometimes wisdom sever clean. Cause even holy patience rot when evil stay unrepentant. And that's the part grown souls don't say enough. You can understand the wound and still call the bluff. You can pray for somebody and still close the gate. You can know why they hurt you and say grace ain't forever. Wait, grace ain't forever. Not when the same knife keep calling it self-love. Grace ain't forever. Not when the same hands keep dressing armor. Grace ain't forever. Mercy got a limit when the soul can't breathe. You can love them, forgive them, pray for them, cool. But grace ain't forever when it keep costing you. Some hearts stay open till open become harm. Some souls stay faithful till faith forgets alarm. Fam learned something hard. Forgiveness is clean, reconciliation ain't. You can forgive a person and still never let them hold your life again. That's not bitterness, it's boundaries, that's breath, that's survival with self-respect. Mercy got a limit when the soul can't breathe. You can love them, forgive them, pray for them, cool. But grace ain't forever when it keep costing you. Grace ain't forever, but love can still be true. Grace ain't forever when it keep costing you. Fam, nice. Wrong kept rising. That was the trick. Suit sharper, name bigger. Power clean on the outside, dirtier underneath. He learned how to wear legitimacy over a rotten center. Kim tried to warn him, tried to love him back into alignment, tried to keep him from reading the script that would feed his ego more than his conscience. But some men don't want salvation, they want control. And once Rome chose greed over grace, once he chose image over truth, once he chose his mother's poison over his wife's warning, KEMET'S fall was already written. That is why her book hurts. Not because she was weak, because she was right. And right was not enough to save a man committed to the wrong throne. Rome still stands for now in the present of Fam's album, but not for long. Turn the page. Pack you up, fam, nice. God body. Once he understood what happened, the question changed. No longer, why me? Now it became, what do I do for the people? Nobody believes. They send them in labeled unstable, maybe gone. Delusional themes, paranoid thoughts, psychosis prolonged. But fam know the look of a mind that got hit in the seams when a sentence from long ago stepped live into the scene. So he sit with him, calm, let the room stop spinning first. Ask what was red when it was red, how it landed in the nerves. Traditional charts too small for the shit some people sing. So he built another language for the patients just like him. He don't tell them every answer, he just help them hold the floor. When the past contain the future and the body can't ignore. Patients like me need more than pills and a clipboard, please. Patients like me need somebody who don't flinch at memory. Oh, patients like me need a room where the strange ain't sin. Yeah. Patients like me need a witness who can help the mind come back again. He stopped trying to prove the impossible. He started trying to keep people alive through it. Some got hit by a note, some by time and some by name, some by one exact encounter that split their life in frames. Some can't sleep near windows, some can't trust the spoken lines. Some keep throwing out old journals like that are empty out the mind. And he ain't judging none of it, he know what panic make you do, know how fear can make you leave good love and call it truth. So he built from all the damage, all the scripts, all the strain. Not the prophet with the pulpit, just a man who knows the pain. He don't tell him every answer, he just help him hold the floor. When the past contain the future and the body can't ignore. Patients like me need more than pills and a clipboard, please. Patients like me need somebody who don't flinch at memory. Oh, patients like me need a room where the strange ain't sin. Yeah. Patients like me need a witness who can help the mind come back again. Not every mind is broken, some minds been hit too soon. Not every soul is crazy, some souls survive the room. This is where the book changes. Not by denying the wound, by using it carefully, ethically, without turning another person's pain into a game.
Patience like me need more than pills and a clipboard, please. Patience like me need somebody who don't flinch at memory. Oh, patience like me need a room where the strange ain't sin. Patience like me need a witness who can help the mind come back again. Patience like me still deserve peace. Patience like me still deserve sleep. Fam, nice.
The hardest part to explain was that it was not always wise, not always the alliance. A lot of the time, it was people, regular people, friends, classmates, strangers, somebody on the block, somebody on campus, somebody who got handed a line and told, say this to him, it'll help him. It's just a joke, he'll know what it means. And they didn't know, not really. There were layers to it. The ones who stayed hidden, that was the alliance. The ones who knew more than they admitted. The ones who understood enough to never say too much out loud. Then there were the real friends. The ones who figured out something was off, something was real, something dangerous was happening, and tried in their own limited way to protect fam from it. Those people mattered. And then there were the others. The ones who turned the script into a game, passed notes around, twisted lines, played with fragments, said things too early because they thought confusion was funny, or power was funny, or because they did not like him enough to care what kind of damage they were helping do. That mattered too, because psychic attack was never just mystical, it was social. It moved through mouths, through rooms, through insecure people, through immature people, through people who wanted to belong to something without understanding what it was costing somebody else. And every now and then, one of them would actually see it happen. They would read the line, he would say it back word for word. The moment would hit, the room would change, and for a second, they would look at him like the world had just slipped off its hinges. Then later, most of them forgot, or acted like they forgot. Convenient amnesia, that was part of the system too. Because once enough people see something impossible and still choose normalcy over truth, the haunting gets protected by silence. That is why patients like him never only need treatment for the event, they need help surviving what people did around the event. That's different, that's deeper. That's why he built the room. Some wounds come from what happened. Some come from how many people watched. Tasha lived. That was not mercy. That was consequence. Wheelchair, thoughts, memories, scripts, dead sons, dead lovers. A family she poisoned until there was almost nobody left to blame but herself. Rome would fall later. Rodney would turn back towards God. Fam would keep moving toward purpose. But Tasha,
stayed alive long enough to hear her own mind without all the noise she used to hide in. That is punishment too. Not every monster gets a dramatic ending. Some get time.
Turn the last page. Tasha lived. Tasha lived. Tasha lived. Tasha lived. There was consequence. Pack you up. He was followed, fragmented, warned, used, spared in part, broken in part, awakened in part, and still he did not become what hurt him. He lost years to a puzzle, lost peace to a phrase, lost softness in some places, lost wonder in the maze, wrote books he thought were fiction, found truth inside the scars, found old warnings in his life, like constellations over dark, found fathers and flawed men, found poison in the crown, found love could save a little and still not hold all evil down, found mercy got a border, found grief don't leave complete, found some wounds don't fully close, they just stop dragging through the streets. But he stayed, not perfect, not untouched, not clean. He stayed long enough to learn what all the damage mean. I see his grief and redemption. That's what this book became. Not revenge, not domination, not another twisted name. I see his grief and redemption. He saw too much and still chose peace, and that's the kind of strength they never taught, but that's what finally set him free. The miracle was never the sight. The miracle was restraint. Wise stole pages, the alliance played the edges of his days, but neither one could make him live forever in their ways. Rome chased power, Tasha poison, Tony built with fear and force. Rodney Benton found God back, Ruck died reaching toward remorse. And all of it moved through him, every script and every scar. To learn the truth, the authorship ain't just knowing who you are. It's choosing what to do with it when pain put ink inside your hand, and writing something cleaner than the curse that made the man. But he stayed, not perfect, not untouched, not clean. He stayed long enough to learn what all the damage mean. To see his grief and redemption. That's what this book became. Not revenge, not domination, not another twisted name. To see his grief and redemption. He saw too much and still chose peace, and that's the kind of strength they never taught, but that's what finally set him free. Some men break and call it fate. Some men hurt and recreate. Some men see and still destroy. He chose not to become the void. This is how the saga ends. Not with a body, with a boundary, not with a crown, with a conscience, not with the loudest power, with the cleanest choice.
A seer's grief and redemption. That's what this book became. Not revenge, not domination, not another twisted name. A seer's grief and redemption.
He saw too much and still chose peace, and that's the kind of strength they never taught. But that's what finally set him free.
Grief and redemption.
Still here, still writing, still free. Pack you up. Some stories end with a body, some end with a prison, some end with a prophecy fulfilled. This one ends with a man who survived knowing too much and still refused to become cruel. That matters. That pack you up. Pack you up. Ron called himself blessed when the world gave him hell. They kept a little light alive where broken people dwell. Rodney been through dark and still found God inside the wreck. Ruck died reaching back for truth when lies climbed up his neck. Rome rose polished, fell filthy, learned the suit, can't clean the stain. Tasha lived with all her ghosts and heard her own mind say her name. Why I saw too far, lost the mercy, turned a gift into a scar. And fam wrote through the whole damn night to find out who they are.
Not to excuse it,
not to romanticize the pain, but to say what
happened plainly,
and not let the silence win again.
Last page.
Close the book but let the truth breathe. Last page.
Last page.
Some wounds heal slow but they still leave.
Last page.
He was not the curse, he was the key. Last. And what they meant for harm, he turned into memory. Not every survivor gets language. Some get symptoms. Some get songs. They'll call it fiction, call it art, call it something made for sound. But those who know the way to weird, no truth don't always settle down. Sometimes it come in fragments, notes and strangers on the block. Sometimes it hide in deja vu and cracked up in a clock. Sometimes the only way to hold it is to turn the pain to foam. Make a book out of the lightning so the soul can outlast storm. So if you heard yourself in this, the loss, the fear, the doubt, the grief, this wasn't written just to harm you. It was written to bring relief.
Not to excuse it,
not to romanticize the pain, but to say what
happened plainly,
and not let the silence win again.
Last page.
Close the book but let the truth breathe. Last page.
Last page.
Some wounds heal slow but they still leave.
Last page.
He was not the curse, he was the key. Last. And what they meant for harm, he turned into memory. Some names fade, some scars stay. Some men break, some men make a way. He never got a normal life. Maybe that was gone too early, but he got something else. Witness, meaning, and the right to tell it himself. That is enough to close a book. That is enough to leave a light on. Last page. Close the book but let the truth breathe. That last page. Last page. Some wounds heal slow but they still leave. Last page. He was not the curse, he was the key. That last. And what they meant for harm, he turned into memory. Last page. Last page. Close the book. Sorry for your loss. Better not go back to her. I left you some cereal in the box. Some books get lived. Grace ain't forever. Patience like me. Fam. Nice. Turn the page. There isn't one. Last page. Last page. There isn't one.
They're gonna think I'm gone, but I'll be back. Wise.